Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here on the show this evening is your Robert. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Ox. Hope you're doing well, pal.
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Listen, I just want to put a shout out there to everybody. I'm going to do it later on as well, but I'll do it right at the start of the show. Apologies. I had severe technical problems last night, and my internet connection was weak and caused, I think, a distortion in my voice. So I sounded worse than usual, if that's possible. But apologies, but didn't detract for anything that my good friend Jeff Holmes had to say. All sorted now, Mr. Fox. Sorted me out along with a company that Richard Branson was involved in. So I'm back to normal now. I'm not at home, so I was away from home, but I did some technical issues. So thanks for everybody's patience and apologies for my good self. Right, Robert, where are we, mate?
We're on the eve of a European game, mate, and it's a big one. There's obviously been a few injuries as well been revealed in the last 24 hours, which has left us in a bit of a dilemma, more so than we were getting into the game, mate. And obviously, first of all, feel sorry for Big Chermity. Regardless of maybe what people think of him as a footballer, it's a nasty injury to get, so hopefully it's a speedy recovery, but one that you don't rush back from. It's a real serious injury, and it's a real blow to us as well. Whether you kept him or you're going to cash in on him, it's a blow either way you look at it, mate. And of course, to our Romans as well, out for possibly up to 2 months, which is going to be a bit of an issue, particularly tomorrow night when we don't have another left back or recognised left back.
Yep, right. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get the phone lines open, mate, and we'll hear from the manager, Derek McInnes, who'll give us an update. We'll go in two parts. So anybody wants to join us, 0141 356 1972. We're going to play the press conference. We'll start as we start build up to, as Robert rightly says, a massive European game at Ibrox. Let's see for the gaffer, Derek McInnes.
Derek, could we just start with your reaction to Yusuf Chermiti's injury news yesterday?
Yeah, obviously really disappointed. For ourselves, selfishly, it's a big part of what we wanted to do this season, and he's obviously a talented boy. But for Yusuf himself, obviously he's very young. It'll be difficult for him to accept and understand what's happened to him, but such is the way, life can, 1 minute you're flying high and get the full season ahead for you and a lot of lofty ambitions for yourself, and then obviously he's had to deal with this injury now, so he's actually on his way to London this afternoon to see a specialist, and then maybe next week get through his operation, and then from that point on it's just about working back, but real tough one for the boy, and tough one for us, particularly. The only saving grace from our point of view as a club, the fact that it's happened in a transfer window and we've got the opportunity to react to that, because ordinarily you wouldn't get the chance once the window closes.
It's also an extra layer of complexity from a club level where he was subject of interest from elsewhere. I know you spoke at the weekend. Did you expect him to stay beyond the window? And I take it, as you mentioned there, the search for a new striker then gets accelerated.
Yeah. So I think the plan was for Yusuf to stay in, but obviously it was a big number. It was reportedly bid for him. I don't know exactly what the figure was, but obviously the club rejected that, and it's neither here nor there now. To be honest, it's done, and and I think the plan was for Yusuf to be a big part for us. But every player's got a price, as you know, so whether that would have been revisited, but it doesn't really matter now. We're talking about something that's hypothetical, and I just think we are obviously looking at maybe strengthening that area of the pitch. Strengthening us defensively, strengthening us in wide areas was a priority, but obviously losing a player of Yusuf's ability, we need to look at that one as well.
Where are you in that search, given that it has been sprung upon you more than the other areas?
So again, we've kind of trying to be quite proactive with that and seeing what is available. Obviously number 9s are normally the most difficult ones to get, and we just look at various options at the minute, and then we try and land on trying to get the right one that we would complement what we've got at the top of the pitch. You know, obviously we're looking for a bit of pace at the top of the pitch, and ideally something with a similar profile to Yusuf, but it's all right saying what you want, but we'll work hard to try and get as close to what we want as possible.
How's the fitness of the rest of your squad? Derek, maybe in particular, Tour Romans as well, how's he?
Tour's picked up a groin strain. Him and Manny were the only two that played full minutes, both in Poland and on Sunday at Ibrox, so we tried to freshen up. At this stage of the season, you're susceptible to these types of things, particularly when the demand of the games comes on, and we don't have an array of options defensively, so obviously Tour having to go in again and play. It was just in the very last action in the bottom left hand corner just before Hibs broke. He felt his groin twinge a bit, and the scan wasn't great, to be honest, so we're going to be without him for a number of weeks, which exacerbates the situation. Defensively we're really short in numbers. We don't have a left-footed defender in the building, and you know, we're keen to try and get that resolved as quickly as possible, because I do think that with the numbers we've got there, we are kind of playing with fire, and we are a couple of defenders being injured from the situation we're in, you know, with Ben Godfrey now and Romans, but the good thing is we've got the ability to react to it, and hopefully we can react positively and quite swiftly, to be honest, because I think that is important, that I think we all know what we need, but it's acting really swiftly would help matters.
We've obviously seen you change your team at the break. Is that just trying to find a solution when you do have these shortages in these areas that you have had for the first 3 games of the season?
Well, we changed the team in Poland because a couple of times, obviously, Yokota had only had 45 minutes, and I'm in Poland, and we didn't ordinarily want to take him off. And we changed the team again at half time, just to try, and obviously we're 1-0 down, we lose control of the game because of the penalty, and we're not in charge of the game, so we've got to try and force the issue a wee bit, and we tried to, the spare man at the time, the spare space a lot of time against Hibs was on that right hand side, in that little pocket where Vanya was, and Vanya had been booked, and you take everything into consideration, we thought we would get Finlay over that side, and I thought the second half we were better. I thought the stats are strong, the stats when you look at it, with 76% possession and penalty box entries and shots, all that stuff, the stuff that would ordinarily indicate that you've had a decent afternoon, but the only stat that matters, as we know, is the result, and it was such a blow for us. It would have been a blow for us dropping 2 points, but to get nothing for the game. But I do think in the cold light of day, when you actually analyse the game and the performance, the performance deserved so much more. It deserved a better outcome. But with everything else going on, the couple of not getting off to a winning start, I think everything gets scrutinised, and rightly so. I understand that, but when you actually analyse the performance, it should have been a winning performance, and we'll hang on to that in a minute. We'll work towards getting improvements, work towards getting a better 90-minute performance, because I thought we were okay first half, but there's no doubt Yusuf coming off, the penalty decision going against us did set us back, but we've got to be able to respond better at times to these kind of setbacks.
Derek, can I just check on progress of some of the transfer deals that are about? Drew for PSV, James Penrice for IK. I think there's suggestions of Jaden Megoma coming back. Where are you with these kind of deals?
So obviously with Tour's injury, we've been looking at various options, so that's kind of ongoing, so without kind of getting into the ins and outs of that, and we're trying to bring wingers in. It's in the hands of the recruitment team to try and get that over the line, and these things nothing's been finalised with anything yet, so obviously waiting for that to play out, but hoping we can get some good news, hopefully by the close of the day or tomorrow.
Obviously you've waited for this opportunity for so long, it's come, and it just seems like everything that could go wrong right now is going wrong. I mean, how do you keep your own spirits up, never mind the rest of the squads? Yeah,
well, it's my job to keep my spirits up. It's the players' jobs to keep themselves going. We're about to play in a European game in front of 50,000 tomorrow, and that if you can't get up for that type of event, And we understand that it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You know, I got the job for a reason. You know, there's a lot of changes needing, and there's a lot of kind of turnaround of the squad. Of course, it's not been as straightforward as I hoped, and you want to enjoy the job a lot better than what it is at the minute. But you can only enjoy it at Rangers when you're winning. I said that at my press, and for me, we've got stuff to do, we've got work to do, and you know, for me, it's part of being a manager. You know, I obviously get a lot of experience, but you know, there is ups and downs. But it's about coping with the difficult times. It kind of defines you, and I think it's up to us now to just knuckle down, stay calm, work, as I say, really swiftly on recruitment. Hopefully, we can be really effective with what we actually need and what we need that is there to help us. The owners, Andrew's already come out and said we're looking to get a significant number of players in, which is the conversations we've been having. But you know, hopefully we can get those in, because I think it's fair to say, you know, we want to try and keep the optimism and the support. We want to try and keep. It's the start of the campaign. There's still so much to play for. But we want to make sure we're in the race for everything, and you know, we want to be as strong as we possibly can. And every manager's the same, but at a club like ourselves, we've got to try and be ready to meet the demand, and the squad at the minute could do with some help.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Robert, I'm going to have a wee pop here, yeah, and you can maybe come in, yeah, and give me your thoughts. So Romans has played the last 2 games, and they say that maybe that's what caused the injury. Every one of us knew we'd nae cover at left back. So if he'd played too many minutes too soon for the so-called sports science, we've done it to ourselves, mate. It's bad enough with the Chimiti one, it's a freak accident, but Romans, we've done it ourselves. And it seems crazy, mate. It's not as if we didn't know we didn't have a left back, yeah?
No, I totally agree, mate. I think it's, you could probably say the word negligent from the recruitment team, that we start a campaign with one recognised left back. We've done it again the same last season. It was Magoma from the get-go, and obviously Max Aarons had filled in at times and Stelling had filled in at times, but that wasn't the answer.
Aaron started, didn't he?
He did.
Went from bad to worse.
You would think you would have lessons learned from there, but to go into this season, knowing that Romans has came back this kind of pre-season from a groin injury that kept him out the last parts of the campaign last season, to me it's negligence from the recruitment team. As you say, we all knew the state that the defence was going to be in come the start of this window, and they've not addressed it. They've brought in Godfrey, they've brought in McCania, but the wide areas, and obviously McCrory, but the wide areas were a concern. Stelling's unreliable, and with one recognised left back. I get what Derek's saying, that you go into these games and there's a chance that you get knocks and bumps and muscle strains. To a degree, correct, but there's no excuse for not being prepared.
Aye, I think it's. I found it quite annoying. I thought I was angry when I heard it. I'm not going to go, Derek, he's telling you as it is, yeah? Yeah, but the fact that collectively we've ended up in this mess, it's a sad indictment, mate. And I feel that the support can see it and they ain't happy. And the executives at our club and the people who've got tasked to do jobs, mate, they're letting the customers, the fans, the supporters, the players and the manager down, mate. It's that simple. We've known since May what was happening with our fullbacks, mate. It's known since May, or even you could argue January, mate, who was finishing, who was leaving, what was happening, and we've still no sorted it. It's ridiculous, mate.
The thing that stood out for me from that part of the interview, mate, was he said it himself, you're playing with fire. Now, to me, that's a direct, kind of clear message to the recruitment team to say, want to help me out here? You can see, we can all see that we're short. we're even shorter now. But when you're saying you're playing with fire, he's basically telling you, I need bodies in, because if we get one more injury in that back line, there's nobody. I mean, you could pick your back four and more a night right away. There's 4 of the players that are fit. So, and one of them is not reliable to go game by game. So it is a massive problem, and I think that's where a lot of people are out there questioning the recruitment team, and rightly so, because as we've both said there, mate, we've knew for months and months and months that this was going to be it, and I thought it would be one of the areas that we would have dealt with first of all, the defence, and then build forward from the back. We seem to have just looked at the midfield, put all our eggs in one basket in that area, and left it until now to be reactive. I know Derek's saying being proactive. It sounds very reactive to me.
Aye, that'd be interesting to see what the punters feel. I just feel everybody's been let down because of that. It's ridiculous, mate. If I'm honest, yeah, I'm trying to pick my words really wisely here. It's ridiculous, mate. You know, it's ridiculous at a club of our size under that organised. It's ridiculous if we find that we're having to get, if we have got Romans, that there's nobody else in the club. You know, the club, the youths, the young boys, the 19s, 20s, whatever you want to call them, whatever they're called this week, that we can't promote somebody within nearer. Every party, it's ridiculous, mate. You know, if you're a 20-year-old youth at our club and you can't step in, where's your career gone, mate? You're 20-year-old.
Well, I know there's talk about the creating a pathway for Aston Scally, but he's obviously still, I believe, in a protective boot. But he's still a young boy as well. But you look at the ones that we've had previously, and amongst the academy, we'll call it. Robbie Fraser was there, shown glimpses, gone, released on a free end of his contract. There's literally no pathway of development in the club anymore. There's no youth system to bring them up. I think there's a massive gap and bridge between the academy and first team football. We've looked at Finlay Curtis, for example. We've seen how he can have moments and have spells, but he's not the finished article. He's had to go to Kilmarnock and get some game time, done well, came back here. Few people were questioning his performances and where he was, done okay. Now all of a sudden you've got him at right back. It's alarm bells, mate. If you're a young player at Rangers, like you say, you've got to be sitting questioning, for the good of your career, am I in the best place possible? And unfortunately, as much as it hurts to say, I don't think they are.
Well, if you can't get promoted, if there's nobody in front of you, what's the point of having no players there, mate? I really don't get it. But maybe that's the thing, that change in modern football. I'm not the only one with a problem, mate. The game's littered with it. The people can't get pathways and they can't develop. And loans are becoming merely a thing for people to develop now rather than reserve, sort of youth reserve first team football, you know, because they're not playing with men, and that would be the problem. We would most likely be putting on a 20-year-old boy. And yeah, I don't think football terms, you're a 20-year-old boy. You ain't a boy. You know, and we'd be throwing him in, he's most likely not played against men. So you're not doing him any favours. You know, he might get through it, he might shine. But you're gambling, you're certainly gambling. And we're also gambling with the fact that we've got ourselves in such a mess in defence. You know, but I don't think we went mad by signing midfielders this year. You know, but it's the people who were involved in our club that haven't been playing, mate. And we've obviously let one go today, Diamondi. What's your take on that, mate? I'll come in second on this one. Would only be right.
I think it's probably the right time to move him on. I think the finances involved, rumoured to be around 4.5 million. I think is, for us, a decent bit of money, because it's pretty much broke even, because he's a player that's not done as much as we thought he was going to do. He showed moments and glimpses of brilliance at times. Other times, he's just been a passenger. The basics, the fundamentals, he doesn't get right all the time. So I think there was probably an expectation when he came in that he would bring a lot of quality into the midfield, a lot of drive, and we didn't see it enough. So another one of these players where you look back in their career and go, did we get the best out of him? No. Was it money wasted? Probably. So I think it's a fair deal financially, and going forward, I don't think Diamondi is in, for me, in the picture of the future of Rangers. So wish him well, of course, because he's been one of us for a couple of years and played with us. So wish him well, but time to move on.
It's nearly 3 years he was involved with the club, eh?
Yep.
Mhm.
Initially on loan, then a permanent signing.
Hit, miss, flop.
Flop.
I'll go miss. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll go miss. Yeah. Yeah. But again, they hit, eh?
No, it's alarm bells, mate. I know we done it on Friday night. People have different opinions, and even we couldn't agree with some players. The jury was out, the hits were out, the misses were out, but predominantly over the past few years,
Did you see your missus, was it?
no chance.
All right, I was just going to say, why did she show up?
Over the years, mate, there's been a lot more juries out to flops than there has been hits. And that again comes back to the recruitment of getting the right players in. And every transfer is a gamble. I'm not saying it's easy to bring the right players in. You don't know how they're going to be until you sign them. But once they have been here, then they've got to show us the level that we expect as supporters when they're putting on their jersey. And not enough have showed it. And that's the state we're in. That's why we're in the position we're in.
So the left back, I'm blaming us. I'm blaming us, Glasgow Rangers, with the left back situation. Yeah, we'll put somebody. We've got him injured. We maybe overplayed him. Yeah, Tor Romans wasn't great. He was okay. I mean, Poland, he wasn't fantastic on Saturday. I don't think anybody was. I liked our new centre half, but obviously the bought the end nicked half him, and it was the move just before that. According to Derek, he felt his groin. You know, so maybe in an ideal world he would have been replaced with 20 minutes to go, and you've not got that injury. You know, so I'm really, really disappointed when I heard that. Really disappointed. It sort of took away from the rest of the press conference, maybe, because obviously you're rightly said. Best wishes to Big Shermitty, mate. Unlucky. You right away. It was a badge, mate. You can just tell. And obviously you've got to get back physically. Then you've got to get back mentally, and it ain't easy. So wish him all the best, mate.
Absolutely, mate. And as you said, as soon as he went down, his reaction told you right away, waving the physio's over. You can tell right away when a player indicates like that. I know they get a bit of stick at times for rolling about, but that one you could tell was a serious injury. And I think we all kind of feared the worst in things, and obviously it didn't help that there was the speculation before the game, which makes it a wee bit more bitter to swallow, that where you did cash in on him, there was going to be money there, or you kept him and you used him going forward, because he has shown again in glimpses and moments that he can be a really good striker. But I get it as well, Ox, that people were saying, why did we play him around the speculation? I myself was surprised to see him in. I know other people might disagree and say that you've got to play him. I understand why he played, but it's not like he was a guy that was firing on all cylinders. None of the strikers are. So what did you lose by not playing him, really? Do you know what I mean? You've lost out potentially on a good bit of money where you could have invested in the squad. But if the club don't want to sell him and they want to keep him, that's the decision. That's what they're paid to do.
I
If it's the
think
right
if
one,
you
only time will tell.
I think if you look at the economics, mate, you're spot on. But I think that's only becomes in hindsight. If they'd played on Sunday, they scored the 2 goals, one in each half, mate, and you won the game 2-1. And he didn't have a great game, but he scored 2 goals. And I'm being hypothetical and all. Then where do you go? Your bargaining power. It's just hindsight, and it's a freak. And they said they weren't going to take that deal. So what do you do? Would you do? No playing for 6 weeks if people keep asking the questions, and then you don't sell them, and he's not played for 6 weeks. You have to do a pre-season again. You know, so I think when you look at it in hindsight, mate, the cold light of day, you're spot on. But I think that's hindsight, mate. It gives you that fortitude.
It's always easy to say after it when it's happening things, but as you say, it's the gamble of playing any player, because you don't know who's going to attract interest and who's got interest ongoing. There could be a number of players playing on Sunday that there's been conversations about. You don't know until it's out in the media whether you believe it or not. But it's a gamble, and unfortunately, this gamble didn't pay off on both sides, whether you kept him or cashed in. But best wishes to him, because it's a real nasty injury to come back from.
Aye, it's tough. it's tough. I'm not going to ask you for your team, mate, but you said it was easy to pick the back four. That's if we play with a back four. Then you go a wee bit into it. But what we'll do now is we'll hear for the second part with Derek, and we'll see if we can get some more focus for tomorrow night's game. So get yourself a mute and let's hear through a gaffer, Derek McInnes.
As much as it feels tough right now, but these tough times will make the better times all the sweeter. That's what you've got to try and put that message through to the players.
Yeah, you'd rather not go through. We'd rather win the game on Sunday, and winning the game on Sunday doesn't mean to say everything's rosy in the garden, but at the same time, I think we could all be doing with a win. Supporters could do it, the players could do it, and I think there's nothing better to get a dose of encouragement and a dose of confidence into the support by getting a win. And obviously we've got work to do. I think the tie's finally poised. I thought we were decent in Poland for long spells, but we've got to understand that we, as I said last week, I thought we played a part in our own downfall with the goals we lost. So if we can tighten up on that side, I feel as though we've got the game in us and the performance in us to get through the tie. And if we can get through the tie, then obviously everybody starts to feel a bit better about himself. But that's the plan. It's my job and the players' jobs to keep ourselves going and positive. And there's a lot of new signings in the building, and there's a lot of players training and playing with motivation, as they should do at Rangers. And hopefully, as I say, we can get the result tomorrow night, which would help.
Derek, in terms of injuries to Yusuf and Tour, excuse me, in terms of recruitment for those positions, are they likely to be loan deals or could they be permanents?
I think we're looking at every area really. I think ideally any club would look for permanents if we could, but we'd also sometimes you have to go with loans. But we're just looking for the best person really, and however that looks like, whether it's a loan or a permanent. So I'm hopeful that we get the players in that we need, but I want to make sure we get them in as quickly as we can.
And you said a number of weeks. Can you give a more definitive on Tour? How many weeks?
Tour, worst case probably 6 to 8 weeks. Best case 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. And on tomorrow night, Derek. You know what European atmosphere is like at Ibrox. You'll want the fans in their numbers, obviously, to try and get the result.
Yeah, listen, it goes without saying how important it is for us to try and crank it up tomorrow. We want the pressure to be on the opposition, not ourselves. And you saw last week in Poland, for those who were there, just how important the atmosphere was, I think, for the home team last week. But it would be nothing like Rangers and Ibrox when it's at full pelt, so hopefully we can give the crowd something to get behind tomorrow, and it's up to us to try and give them that encouragement, because they're desperate for something to get behind, and we want to try and deliver a big performance tomorrow if we can.
Derek, you mentioned earlier on that with the numbers you're currently on, you're playing with fire. Have you had to have some kind of frank, pointed conversations with people just to kind of stress the urgency of how quickly you need to get more numbers on board?
I think there's been a number of conversations, obviously with a couple of injuries that set us back, key players, but no, it's conversations are ongoing every day, and it's like, managers are always wanting the player now. Once you identify a player, you want to get them in the building and as quickly as possible, and it's not always as easy as that, and sometimes it can be a thankless task, but I do think that we have we're I think there's a kind of clear plan about what we're looking for, and obviously it's changed a wee bit now in terms of the Yusuf injury, and that is obviously something we're going to have to really zone in on, and we're working hard and looking at options since when we finished training before we came in here, and it wasn't an area where we're looking at, but just defensively there's always been a bit of concern. I always thought we were short in numbers there. Certain areas of the pitch, like middle of the pitch, we've got plenty of numbers, but it's there's loads of the wider areas and defenders were way short.
Yeah, with Sourab Draouche, the Moroccan guy from PSV, is it safe to say he's over here and you've had a wee bit of chat with him to see if you can get it over the line?
I don't know exactly where he is right now, but I think for us, we've been linked with a lot of players. Obviously that one's gained a bit of momentum and we are quite far down the line with that, but I don't know where it's at currently, where it's and as I say, once we know, we'll know, but I think all these things are still ongoing.
What was your biggest takeaway, Derek, from last week, from that first leg, where you can get at them tomorrow night? And
you clearly saw enough in the first leg to think that you can turn it around Thursday?
Yeah, I think we certainly need to get more bodies in the box at times. So we had a video this morning and we went through some of the clips from the game last week and certain things we need to commit to doing and be a bit. I think we need to play with a bit more risk with our play. I think we need to be less safe, to be honest. I thought we were a bit too safe for my liking, and try and force the issue a wee bit more and get a wee bit more tempo. I thought our tempo, the game was far better second half, in terms of our movement off the ball and movement with the ball, and we created a number of opportunities. So if we can get something similar from the outset, that would be great, but we've also got to make sure that our counter press is good, we're defending's good when we're attacking, and making sure that we're on point, because I have got players that can make a difference for them, and we've just got to make sure that their influence on the game is less than it was, particularly first half.
Hi Derek. We know we need to get off to a fast start on Thursday night. I guess there's a bit of a balancing act to play in that, because you try and force play might lead to a costly mistake. How do you instill the sense of urgency in the players to get off to a fast start but make sure we don't take too many risks and make it into a bit of a costly error?
Yeah, so there is that balance. I think any game, it's the kind of the balance between attacking and defending, and making sure that you do play with an element of risk, and I do think that's something we're going to have to buy into a bit more, particularly at Ibrox. But having the confidence to defend these situations as well and transitions. Most goals you'll see now are on counter-attacks or set plays a lot of the time. Very few teams will actually play through you and build through you. And we saw that last week for as much they want to play through you, and there's quite rotations and quite clean ordinarily through the middle of the pitch. I don't think it really causes too many problems with that. But it was mostly when we gave the ball away or on duels one and outside their box, they could break quickly. So there is that tendency. You're not going to be able to keep. You're not going to get everything if you want, because if you commit bodies forward and you play with a bit more risk, then you are more susceptible. But we've got 90 minutes to win the game and get through in the tie, and we've got to take a lot of the good from last week's game, and I still think we can attack with a bit of purpose and a bit of intent without playing the last 5 minutes football for 90 minutes, if you know what I mean. We've got to be better than that. So there's that kind of balance between being a bit measured, confident with work, but also understanding the urgency and tempo and playing bigger passes and playing with a bit more risk is needed to get the tie going our way.
Well, thanks for that, Fox. Listen, here's a radical idea, Robert.
Hello.
Oh, I've been joined by Gordon. Evening, Gordon. How are we doing, mate?
How are we doing? Listen to the programme as usual, but I'd just like to pass on. I heard last week Davy Herd, and last night with Jeff Holmes.
Yes.
It was compulsive to me when I was listening. I really enjoyed it. It took me back. Obviously, I'm in my 60s now, and with the nearly men, yes. The picture that he painted is, I'm getting flashbacks and what have you. And the article on that he came out and that with Wally Woodburn, I wasn't aware that his record wasn't really all that bad. It was only when he flagged up the forced ending after the 10 bookings. And he was trying to take a slant. It was a kind of a personal thing, but again, when it comes to the hierarchy, as we all know, there's nothing really changing. No, but no, that was just to pass on. I really enjoyed them. Enjoyed you.
Thanks for that, mate. I know the sound wasn't perfect last night with Jeff, but I'm sure Jeff came across all right, and I found them intriguing, mate. I found them really interesting. And I love when you hear or you pick up something that you didn't know, mate. Because I think a lot of us can think we know a lot. You just pick up a wee nugget.
Aye, definitely. We all claim to be the greatest supporters and the knowledge and that, but just to listen to somebody and that they know what they're talking about. Whether you agree with their opinions or not, that was all about opinions. Aye. And just on when before I came through into the other room there, you're on about there's no excuse for Rangers not having a left back or a left-footed player in the building.
None.
I 100% agree with you on that. But it wasn't all that long ago where we were shooting Clement down for going with sports science, picking a team.
I get that, mate. I know we contradict ourselves sometimes, but at the start of the season, you're trying to manage everybody's minutes. It's no unusual in football. I wouldn't say it was sports science. I just think it's pre-season, start of season stuff. It's no unusual. Even when you used to play, when you're only one or two subs or no subs, it wasn't unusual for teams to change at the start of the season. So I think we've lacked a bit of common there, but I think it's really telling, mate. And I'll bring Robert in. Derek, you can come back. Gordon, you can come back in. And then I think it's really telling when the manager says we've not got a left-sided player in the club. And then you've got all these midfielders who historically somebody could go in there and cover and play the position, and you'd be playing a midfielder at left back that wouldn't weaken your team. So this is where we've got with squads, modern football. And I get your sports science. By the way, history might teach us, apart from the Queen's Park game, all up for being a mistake, mate. I thought his position was untenable because of the Queen's Park game at the time. I still think that, but maybe. Big Phil didn't get a fair crack of the whip. I'll bring Robert in, mate, then I'll come back to you. Robert?
Evening, Gordon.
Hi, Robert.
I think I understand what you're talking about with the sports science things, and I'm not suggesting for a minute that we're kind of contradicting ourselves, that we're now looking at it to say we need to recognise sports science. I think the one with Romans in particular is, to me, just blatant negligence from the recruitment team not to address a backup or cover, particularly when Romans had that injury at the tail end of last season. He also joined the club, and it took him a few games to get into the squad because he had an injury as well. So injury history shows that he's kind of surplus to get knocks and lumps and things like that during a football career. It's been part of the game. But muscle injuries, they keep up on you when you don't expect it. I just feel that we've done ourselves a massive problem by not looking at it. I mean, the talks of Jaden Magoma coming in, to me, I'll be honest, Gordon, it strikes me as a bit of a panic. And I said it earlier, we're being reactive than proactive, because if we wanted Magoma, we would have kept him at the end of the season and would have had him during pre-season. Now all of a sudden, Romans is getting an injury, and it's like, who can we get in quickly? So that's my concern, that it's a bit of a negligent effort from the recruitment team to address that issue.
I don't think the Magoma one's the problem, mate. I think that some of that might be speculation. You never know, it might end up true. The fact that we've not got a left back there and anybody else can play it, I think is shocking. I don't want to have a go at everybody because we don't know the details, and they might have tried to sign 100 left backs and 99 of them didn't want to come, Gordon. It just looks galling, doesn't it? It looks poor.
Definitely. That's flashing in and out, but the Magoma one smells of desperation. On my side, anyway, that's how I see that one. Hopefully they'll pull something out of the hat, but it just seems we're saying a good few players there, but they all look much the sameness. I would like to ken who they're going to get in the door, where you want to get off your seat and you get excited and you go, wow, here we go. But I know the Japanese fella showed a couple of flashes in the first half. Hopefully he'll not just be like Ant-Man and we'll get more out of him. But they're not getting away from that. They'll hold their own up in that themselves, the fact that they're not left-handed players, left-sided players to kind of slot in. No, there's no excuse for that. However, going back to what I phoned in for, the couple of nights listening was really, really good. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Hopefully, I can. That's probably, it says it all when we're getting more enjoyment out of looking back the way than we are looking for it. But however, that's a sign of the times. Hopefully, we'll come good again. Right, lads, I'll let you go, and as always, we are the people. Thanks
Cheers,
again.
Gordon. Great to hear from you as always, mate. Great to hear
Right
from you.
then, cheers, bud. Bye.
Cheers, Gordon.
Cheers, mate. Bye. You could take a leaf out of his book. What a gentleman.
I've been trying, mate. I'm trying to copy you. It's not worked so far.
Oh, don't copy me, mate. Don't copy me. I'm anything but. You know, but I'm glad that people enjoyed it. But I get his point, and his point, there's a message, mate.
Oh, 100% there is. I mean, you say that, but sometimes we come on, we say things, and we say it as we see it, and then we can contradict ourselves the following week because, again, we're just judging what we're seeing. And obviously, back then, a lot of it was around the sports science that Gordon spoke about there, and we were getting a bit peeved off with it because the team selections came across to us that it was being dictated by sports science. Now Gordon is making the point that, well, maybe we should look at that and say, if we don't protect these players from the knowledge of the sports science, they're going to end up with injuries. But I think you're okay if you get a player that's injured, as long as you've got cover. When you don't have cover, that's when you start to look at the other side of it.
But players will get injured, mate. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%.
you've got the Chimiti one, which was a ball. He was trying to make him put it out for a throw and try to put him under a bit of pressure, working hard for the team, which he was doing a bit on Sunday, by the way. He was trying to G the team up, but it was one of these freak things that happens in a game of football, and they can happen at any time. The Romans one with your groin, your muscles. It doesn't matter how fit you are. It happens to Olympic sprinters. They train for that 10 seconds, and things happen. So it can happen to any athlete at times, mate. Yeah, but you just want to give yourself the best chance. And because it's a team game, you have people to support your players, and you need options, and you need a squad. You can put on 5 substitutes, you know. And if you're just got all these people on the bench and none of them can cover left back, what does it say, mate? You've got 9 people on the bench. One of them's a goalkeeper, 8 outfield players, and what they're basically saying when we're listening to that, nobody can cover left back. Where are we, mate?
No, I know. And yet we've got Dragojevic starting as a right back and then using Finlay Curtis as a right back when 2 are on the bench. Again, whether we know McCrory's
Where
had a
are
bit
we,
of a knock.
mate? And then we bring McCrory on, and he's had a bit of a knock. Where are we, mate? Because it's just mental, and people are getting frustrated.
And rightly so, Ox, as well, because as you say, when you get into a competitive kind of season, the way we are, games are thick and fast. You've got European games, you've got league games, you've got cup games. You need a squad that's fit and available. I get you're going to get injuries, that's part and parcel of football, but you need a squad there to go in. And when Derek McInnes is still saying this late in a window or this early in a season that we're still very short in areas that we've all said for a number of years on this show, defensively, wingers, they need prioritised, they need to be identified and strengthened. It's the same conversations. So where are we? We're nowhere further forward.
No. And listen, the easiest targets are the Purdy and the Thirlwells, but we don't know the details. But looking for the outside in, mate, it doesn't look great for them, does it?
No, it doesn't, mate. It doesn't. I had a wee kind of look at them in terms of what they've done prior to coming to us.
What was that, Grinder?
No, other sites are available. Robbie Thelwell was 27 years of age and Dan Purdy's 32. Before they came to us, their history has been involving either a scout. For Robbie Thelwell, it was a scout at Aston Villa, Wolves and Norwich. Dan Purdy has been a match analyst and then a scout, and they're in charge of our recruitment team. Now, I'm not saying they can't do the job because they're young. I'm saying from looking in, my own personal take on it is they're not up to the job that is expected of recruitment at Rangers. So that's where they become the fall guys. in this particular window and last summer. But recruitment has been a problem for a number of years. It's not just Purdy and Fairwell. They get it at the moment because they're in there. But the last 5 years, mate, 6 years, recruitment hasn't been great. Flops and hits and misses. How many hits are you going to get out of those 5 years? Not many. Could you get a squad? Be tight.
Struggle, mate. Struggle. And there's times when I've thought, and I don't know if I've ever said it on the show, there's times when I've actually thought we've actually signed too many players, mate.
Mhm.
You know, there's times when I think we go to wrong and we sign too many players. And you see that with the plethora of midfield players we've ended up with, you know, and I think Albert a couple of weeks ago said there was 9 centre midfielders at the club. We've not got a left back.
Aye, it's madness when you look at it in that sense. You would think somebody's sitting there with the squad written down and per position. Who have you got? Who's available?
I'll give them a tip, mate. Get the old magnets up and put 11 positions, write the names of the players that can play there under it, and then just see where's the least names and you'll have a problem. There you go. How about that for an idea?
Exactly.
That's a new one, isn't it? That's really, really revolutionary. That's really modern, isn't it?
It's almost genius, mate, if you ask me. But we didn't even need a bit
another
of paper
one.
or a
Just make
tactics board.
the wee magnets blue, mate. Yeah, and a different colour for the goalkeeper. Yeah.
Now you could do that. It would be time to connect 4, and we know what that's like last season. But what I mean is, we didn't even need a tactics board or a bit of paper to say where we're going to be short coming into this window. Albert, and you've said there, 9 midfielders, 1 left back. How is that? How's that happening? It shouldn't be. You should have 2 players per position, especially getting into competitive action. Some transfers take time. You may not get who you want. You need to move on to somebody else. I get that.
Mhm.
But this isn't the first time we've been caught out being short defensively.
No. And by the way, just if they're looking for some tips, they're 4-4-2, all the positions who can play there, yeah. They're 4-3-3, all the positions. Maybe a 3-5-2 as well, if you like to do that. And a 4-2-3-1. And have all the names of who can play the positions. And then all of a sudden you'll say, oh, they get somebody in for left of defence. There you go. Huh?
Exactly. It's planning. As we've always said to you, that you should never just stand still. You should always be looking ahead to making plans for whether it's a manager, a goalkeeper, a striker, whatever.
Here's another idea then. Here's
next.
another idea. See, when you do that, see the guys in your club that's contracts up for the next summer, you know you're going to replace them, put their name in a different colour. Wow. Getting radical, this, isn't it?
It sounds like common sense, and that's the thing.
Aye.
It's so common sense. It's staring us blatantly in the face that we all knew what was going to happen. And as I said, I fully expected. When you look at the window that we had last summer in January, it was all middle to front predominantly. So I expected, as I said at the start of the show, that a lot of work would be done defensive first of all, and then build from there and get players in. We seem to have done it back to front, and now we're left with an absolute conundrum. Maybe it's not even a conundrum because there's only 4 defenders. If you get 4 positions, they play. But if you don't, you're then putting, as we say, square pegs in round holes. Dragojevic, Curtis at right back. Sterling at left back. Sterling plays tomorrow night at left back. He's not playing Sunday. He can't go 2 games. So that becomes another problem.
Aye. I get it, mate. I get it. Look, this is for me is a big story, and it's pre-up to a European tie, which is ridiculous, you know. And again, we're sounding as if we're negative, but I think we've been realistic, mate. So I know we've just got a bit to go because I'm interested because I want to debate with you. Right, tomorrow night, what's your formation and what's your team? If you got the magnets out and that, do you want me to move them around for you? What formation are you going for?
Given, see, it's a tough one, right? Because given the Chamiti injury, I think it makes sense to go to 4-3-3, right? But you've still got to win the game. So I'm stuck between staying the 4-4-2, which I'll be honest, I don't think at this minute in time suits us. I still think there's massive gaps in midfield. The two central players are having to cover a lot of grass, and they're not getting much help. They've also not got the delivery in terms of driving forward with the ball, so that's an issue.
Depends who you play, but I take it you might be playing two similar players to the weekend.
Very possibly, mate.
I thought one of them was absolutely atrocious again.
I'm going to
carry
go
on, mate. Carry
for
on.
tomorrow
When do
night.
you want me to put these magnets? Come on.
Right, start with a back four.
Right, a straight back four.
Yes.
All right, a flat back four. You don't want the full backs a wee bit up, so you can do this, and this board is brilliant, mate. And I can write all the names underneath it of the players that can play these positions. It's fantastic, mate. I think I should go into Dragons Den with this, mate.
There's only going to be one name under each counter here, so.
All right, okay, mate.
You're going to have to be, for me, McCrory right back, Fernandez, McCann, Sterling. That's a four, and that's only four defenders. Midfield, I'll go 4-3-3 Ox. Three midfielders. I think Raskin will start. Dragojevic.
Where?
And Asgard.
Where? Either side of him?
Yes, Raskin in the middle, Dragojevic to the right, Asgard to the left.
Left midfield, Asgard.
Yes, left central midfield, if you want to put it that way. It's a narrow three, it's not a flat.
My magnets just fell off the board when you put Asgard at left midfield, but carry on, I'll put it back up because you said it. Sorry about that, I must have energy.
He's the only ball carrier, mate, so I think we need to put him in the middle to carry it forward. Everybody else is defensive mid, so that's my rationale with that.
All right.
Your Kota on the right. And I've got a feeling Gassama starts on the left.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's no fit, mate, after he's hobbling and that at the end of the game on Sunday, mate.
I don't know. Cutlass wasn't feeling well after the game as well. Maybe he's an option, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Gassama. And up front, Shankland.
You playing him in for him, are you?
Can't play many on for him, mate, if I'm being honest. But I think Shankland's in the starting lineup.
Wow.
If I was going 4-4-2 Ox, I would have Shankland.
Wait a minute. I need to move all my magnets about a bit of time here, right? Right. What do you think the manager will play, mate? Yeah.
I honestly think he'll put Dragojevic at right back again, and he'll leave one of the defenders out on the bench as cover.
Do you think there's any chance he could, because we need to win the tie, he could go with three at the back?
I think he could, but it's who your wide players are going to be, because they've got a defensive duty to do, and how many confidently can you say would do a defensive duty as well on transitions?
Aye, because we know Gassama, we know Asgard, that's no their time. Makiewicz, maybe, on the right of midfield, I don't know if that's his position, mate. He played right back. He had a couple of shots at the weekend, was all right. Mm-hmm. And obviously he learns that we play different rules in Scotland. I listen to that Go Radio. Have you ever heard so much crap in your life, mate? Oh, it's a new rule. If you're not looking at the ball, it's nothing to do with that. It's actual what the foul is. And it was very limited. 6 and 2 threes. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at the ball or no. Sometimes you're not touching it. I've never heard that like in my life. Try to justify that, mate, yeah?
They're only saying what Willie Collum's going to say in his show shortly whenever that comes out for the first time this season, but if that's the level they're going to give penalties for, you're going to see penalties like that every week. Or you should, rather. But you're not going to, unless you're in blue.
Basically, the 10 games, what is that? They're not 11 games played. You'd be able to get the incidents, mate. You'd be able to show incidents in all the games, mate, with similar things. Yeah, and nothing happened.
If only we had a panel who would look at these. Oh, never mind. They scrapped that.
What did that achieve? Really, but what did that achieve? Didn't they say play the game again, did they?
No, it didn't achieve anything, but it brought a bit of scrutiny to the officials. And
Aye.
I know clubs have not bought into it, apparently. They've not said that we're going to participate, and that's why it's been pulled. But to me, it just feels like more power's been given to the officials by getting rid of that and less spotlight on them.
Aye. Right, we're going to go back to the team. Do you agree with Robert? I don't. Yeah. I think we're going to have to be a wee bit bold because we need to win the game. And here's a radical idea for you, mate. I'm going to write this under my bold and bold blue letters under my board, yeah?
Mhm.
Know what I'm going to do? Win both halves. What would that mean tomorrow night?
We're through.
Simple, innit?
Yep.
Win both halves. Have a look, mate. When was the last time we done it?
Oh, would it be Falkirk before the last game of the season? Did we win both halves then?
Have a look. Yeah. And have a look before that, mate.
All right, I'll do that during the tune. I'll listen and check on that one. I've got a feeling it's Falkirk in the last game of the season, right enough, but I'll double check it.
Win both halves. It's a great idea, isn't it?
It is, and if you can keep a clean sheet, bonus.
Aye. Aye. Oh, I like this magnet idea, eh? That's somebody else. I bet people are kidding themselves, they never thought of it. Huh?
Aye. Take a picture and
Whiteboard.
share it. We'll
A
post it online
whiteboard.
later.
Oh, I've got a whiteboard here and I've got different colours pens for length of contract, and obviously if somebody's injured, you take their name and you put them in a different colour because you then become short then. Well, what a good idea.
Do you think we should send Olbert up with his lists?
It's a modern trend in Albert's list, mate. He's got it on postage notes. This is taking it to the 21st century, mate. Yeah. You know?
No. No, I think just based on who's available, mate, I wouldn't surprise me to go 4-3-3. As I said, I was stuck between that and 4-4-2 because you've got to try and win the game. My two strikers, I'll not do the full team, but my two strikers, if I was 4-4-2, would be Shankland and Miovski. But Miovski was in the stands on Sunday, so I found that strange, if I'm being honest.
Mate, he's hardly a minute, is he? So, I mean,
Mhm.
it suggests that he's been, he came on and got that penalty kick against Cincinnati, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. And
That was it.
that was it. And I can't remember. No, whether it's the knock, I don't know. But when you've looked at it again, it always looked as if they might have been looking to move on, or we were looking to move him on, or both parties wanted to part ways,
Mhm.
Well, that's what it's looked like because he's hardly featured at all.
No, he's not. That's what I kind of found strange about it, because when you go through the players that haven't featured, the likes of, or not much, it's your Camerons, your Barons, some have had knocks, but Miovski, as you said, had an appearance at St Etienne. Didn't they play, I don't think, against West Ham, if I remember right, and he's not been involved in any of the competitive games, so it does bode the question. And nobody's asked McInnes about Miovski, that he was in the stand. Nobody's asked him if he's got a knock or if he's part of the squad going forward. It's kind of been one that's just been left in the dark.
I know. Aye. I don't know if Miovski's the answer for us, mate. It was unlucky. And by the way, I didn't think it was a worse signing. Just sometimes it didn't work out. And you have a goal, and that's what happens in football. But I think that the problem we've got is there's too many of them. And then you start tarring everybody with the same brush. And you get critical of him and maybe think, oh, he's not good enough. Sometimes it's just the luck. When you pick up a knock, you can't get in the team, and you don't, and the bodies they fall your way. Or, there's a lot of, let's put it this way, mate. Sometimes the sun and the moon have to align. Yeah, see what I did there?
Oh, well done. You missed me a minute ago when I said left in the dark.
No, I did chuckle, but I didn't think it was that good.
I've been working on that all night as well. But no, you're
Were
right.
you?
It's one of the ones where, as you say, they all get tarred with the one brush, but strikers get judged on their goals, and if they're not scoring goals, you look at their performance. But we've not been giving strikers a lot of service. I mean, we have 25 shots there, but how many were clear cut? Don't get me wrong, some good balls were in the box on Sunday, but just nobody there.
Not enough players in the box, mate. Not enough
Exactly.
players in the box, mate. You know?
That's why I'd be inclined to go with 2 up top tomorrow night.
But you'd have one of them has to get into the box, mate. The play was that quick for him. He was 10 years behind.
Exactly. No pace.
Right, I think Bonnie Tyler's is tuning right, mate.
Would be fitting.
What?
It would be fitting.
Well, I was lost in France.
I'm listening to it twice.
Get yourself a mute. We're going to have a tune.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I've looked at it, mate, and see with the personnel we've got on offer, mate. I'm maybe a 3-5-2, which could give you, you know, and then in the back three, if you like's obvious, Macania, Fernandez, and Sterling. Yeah, so Fernandez is playing on the left, Macania in the middle, and Sterling on the right. Sometimes I don't think we're fair in Fernandez where we're playing him because he is right fitted. You know, and by the way, if I had my way, he wouldn't be in the team at the moment, this moment in time, yeah. But I think with the personnel we've got on offer, that's what we earn, mate. Yeah. And then you've got 5 across the midfield, or if you play that as a 4-1-2, mate, or as you play it a 3-4-3, yeah, because you're going to have to win the game. Now, you rightly said that the guys in the wide areas would have to work to help out. So Masijevic on the right, if that's where he plays, mate, if that's where he plays, or do you play the boy who came in and done okay at the weekend? Because he did okay up to about 60 minutes, a young Japanese player. Yeah, Yukon, but so I don't know what he's like for trying back and helping out. Yeah, so but that's the problem, and you've got the same problem on the left. If you go with Kisama, if you go with Asgard to play in that position, you've got the same problem. Yeah. You know that Curtis will give you everything he's got, yeah, because that's the type of boy he is. You know? But there we go. There's my problem with the team, the position. But I think we're very limited in how we're going to play with the personnel. And that's one of the things I'm so angry about. You know, you think about it, mate. If they two centre halves run into each other in the first 5 minutes and you had to take the two of them off tomorrow, who's playing at the back?
Nah, you're knackered. You're knackered there, mate. And it's frustrating because when you look at it, you say you've brought in 9 signings, you would think that there's a squad there that you could pick from. But all of a sudden, we're sitting scratching our heads yet again to say, well, what formation can we actually play with the personnel that's available?
Oh.
And it's hard, it's difficult. So you might be right, it could be a 3-5-2. Strangely enough, when Finlay Curtis went to Kilmarnock, there was a few games that he played as a right wing back. And I know we've been using him on the left. He could be an option on the left, mate, with your Cotter on the right. In that back three, as you say. But I would just be concerned that you want to see these guys in attacking positions. You don't want to be looking at them defending the box all the time. They've got a responsibility as wing backs or wingers, whatever they want to be called these days, to track back and defend. But you want to see them up the park, creating chances, getting shots away, taking the ball away, ball carrying at counter attacks. When they're far up the back, there's no out balls.
You're right with that. The two white men. All of a sudden, you've got replacements for them. If it's maybe on the right to come on and replace, and then you could bring Gassama on for Curtis on the left if he's fit. Yeah. So in the middle, I would go with, like you, I would go with maybe Devlin and Raskin with Asgard with 3 roll, mate.
I had. Again, I feel you've got to try and get Asgard in there somewhere. And we know at times he can be a player that can shine at times, or he can be a guy that is a passenger and disappears. We've seen 2 games where he's been pretty good, both against Dundee United and then again absent against the Polish mob last week. So you've seen in 2 games already what Asgard can do for you. I just feel, as people have pointed out before on the show and comments and things on the feeds, he's the only guy that's got the ball carrying ability in him from midfield. The rest of them are all defensive midfielders. But yet to see really what Dragojevic can offer in the middle of the park. I know on Sunday he was doing a bit where he kept coming inside and Devlin was dropping deep. Left Yokota out right himself. And then in the second half it was Romans out wide himself. But there was no ball. As soon as you put 2 men up against that, you knew it had to go back the way, and it became pedestrian. It slowed the pace down. So it is an absolute conundrum of how we set up. But maybe you're right with the 3-5-2. Would you go with Shanklin and Miofsky there up as the 2 then, or would you have Nadiri?
No, I would have Nadiri, mate. Actually, listen, I don't think anybody was outstanding on Sunday, but a couple of the boys he laid off and they got involved. So obviously, he doesn't look the most cultured player, but I didn't think he had the worst half of football. And he came on, I'm going to judge him for the first half, and then he played the second half, and we made the most chances in the second half, and I don't think any really fell to him as such, but I thought he laid off a couple of good balls. Listen, I'm not saying he's the finished article, and Miofsky's not played at all, mate, so where's the sports science to say he's fit to play, mate? You know?
Exactly. It's again down to the personnel. Who do you put to start the game to go and get you into a winning position? And then you can maybe look at shoring things up somehow with the personnel from the bench. You don't want to be chasing a game.
I'll tell you another thing. If Miofsky's sitting in the stand again, right? If that's the case because of A, B, or C, mate, and would they play Shanklin and Nadiri, and they two running at each other?
Yep.
See my point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's where a lot of the frustration is coming from, where you've got people in the stands that could and should be doing a job for us, and they've not been. And that's not just Miofsky when I say that. I mean, there's other players this season and previous seasons that have been like that. But again, as I said earlier on, you asked the question, where are we? We're nowhere further forward. It seems to be the same problems that arise. A few injuries here and there, and it's a complete, well, where do we go now? Who's next? Who can fill this gap? And I think that's where the problem lies. But I think Shanklin and Nadiri, mate, are quite similar. They both quite like to drop deep. We've not really seen Nadiri as that main striker up front.
I'll tell you what, if Shanklin's dropping deep, mate, and we're trying up the park quick, it's not going to work, mate. I think if you want to get the best out of Lawrence playing for us, what I've seen so far, he has to play number 9, he has to be high, mate.
Yep.
So when the ball comes into the box, you get the most chances for him to be involved. I'm not saying he has to go there every time, because if you were playing the 2, of course you have to mix and match it. You know, and I don't think he's set the header on fire, mate. In the games he's been involved in this at all, mate, if I'm honest. Yeah.
I tend to agree there, mate. He's came in as obviously the boyhood fan and the expectation that he'll kind of get his goals into the game, but his general play has been poor. Dundee United, he was really quiet in the game, really poor. I think the only kind of good bit he done was his strength for Asgard's goal, where he managed to kind of force a defender to play it towards Asgard. Other than that, he's been very, very quiet. We've not provided him a lot of service, but he's not been in the right area at times, as you say, when he is coming out into that space that maybe a 10 would be taken up, or the modern day 10 as they call him. He's not got the pace to get in the box, and he is a striker that needs to be in that box. Anything around the penalty spot, he's going to get you goals. But if he's out of the box, you're then struggling because there's nobody in there to cause issues or be a presence.
Aye, I'm not going to go on it. I'm just saying what I watch, mate. And I understand that he's under some pressure, mate. You know, people think we'll bring him in and he's going to guarantee all these goals, but he's captain and he's got to try and look their responsibilities as well. So, and with the greatest of respect, it's no Hearts. Yeah, so he's under more pressure. You know, so hopefully he can start getting goals tomorrow night. But again, mate, with Chermiti, as I said to you, if they 2 run into each other and you had to take them off, I mean, off he's on the bench, mate, for whatever reason, come back to your point, where are we? Are they centre-offs? I know you, but that's been 9 subs, mate. You could have a situation where we can't replace the 2 centre-forwards, we can't replace the 2 centre-backs. It's mental, mate.
It is, and it all boils back down to that one word that we keep saying for years, recruitment. And we've always said that it doesn't matter who's in charge of the team, what managers in, whether it's Derek McInnes, Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola. If you don't get recruitment right on the pitch first and foremost, it's going to cause you problems. I mean, I know a lot of people have picked up on Graham Souness's words this week, but he's 100% spot on. You've got people making decisions for football who aren't football men, who don't know the game. You're going to be in bother. Well, we're seeing it firsthand right now. We're in bother with our personnel availability options, and we need to get the bodies in quickly. And unfortunately, they're going to have to come in, and we always say it, they're going to have to hit the ground running, because we can't stand and give them time as much as we'd expect. It does take time, but we need them to be ready to go, because we can't falter anymore. It's been a poor start. We've had poorer starts, but it's been a poor start. And we talk about it, getting into a European qualifier, and you've got 2 guys injured, and all of a sudden you don't know how to set up, you don't know your personnel. That shouldn't be happening at our club.
No, it's complacency or unprofessionalism, whatever you want to call it. And if it is the 2 people, Thirlwell and Purdy, mate, yeah, if it is them, it's responsible for it. And they've been derelict in their duties, mate. Time to move on, mate, and get people in. But obviously, before you do it, you've got to replace them. And I mean, the work should be starting. What have we got? 20 days roughly to not even that, 18 days to the end of the transfer window, is that right? 19 days. 19 days,
I think
yeah?
it's 19, yep.
19 days, sorry. You know, you should be playing my modern board, mate. I'm starting to work on the January one already, you know.
Mhm.
You know, and what I've done down the side, mate, I'm starting to get a list of options of clubs of people all over Europe that are getting into the last year of their contract who we could maybe look at as frees, and I've got the budgets and what I expect them to be paying and what they're looking for. This new thing's working. You think I should maybe take it over with me and show them what Ibrox are got talking out with it?
It's worth a try, mate. You don't ask, you don't get.
You
Don't
think
know how far
anybody
you'll
else
get.
has ever? You think anybody else has thought of anything so radical?
Right now, I don't think so, mate. I think you've stumbled across an absolute genius idea. Maybe a bit of money in there for you as well. Me investment.
I could maybe do that and put it on Excel, mate, and highlight all the things and have a list, and I could send it to people on a computer. What about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Wow. Wow. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Right, okay, right. You playing Asgard tomorrow night? Yes or no? Get off that fence. Come on.
Yes.
Right. Where are you playing them?
Left centre mid beside Raskin. As a free.
I don't see it, mate. If you're playing a three, he's no left centre mid, mate. He's on the left-hand side of the park, mate, and that's where it's failed for me any time I've seen him there. You know, but just my opinion. You might have a different one. Anyway, we've been joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, Ox. Evening, chaps. Hope you can
How
hear
does
me.
Smurf?
Look, can you hear me, aye?
Yes, we can, mate. We can.
Ah, good. Aye. I'm driving in for work. And,
Can I interest you in one of my whiteboards?
Ah, dear me. Oh, it's just a mess, isn't it? What a mess. I mean, for the get-go, for the beginning of the season, you know, you're looking at it and thinking, before the season, I mean, when the season ended last year, what I'm trying to say, you're looking at, what, 3 centre-halves.
Oh, wait a minute. Can I just interrupt you, Smurf?
Aye.
See with this whiteboard, see with Diamondi, I've just wet my finger and rubbed his name out.
There you go. All right, that's fantastic. But, you know, you're ending the season, and it's obvious, glaringly obvious what you need, right? And I don't know how I just don't get it. If the money's there, why are we in this predicament? I understand you've got to get bodies out, etc., and you've got to balance the books. With a lot of loanees, guys that come to the end of their time, etc. I'm looking at that right back spot. Before people jumped in my throat, I'm no advocating for the return of James Tavernier. But you're bringing in Ross McCrory, who's a guy that failed at the club at the first time round. He's only a young boy, difficult circumstances. So it's no all his fault. But I don't see how he's an upgrade on Tav. Because he just isn't. He's a journeyman player and he knows his way around the club. And I get that's a net positive. And he's a utility man. He can fill in it right back. The front, he can play centre half. He can play maybe as a 6 at a push. And Honda to have a run a club. He's not a starter. I just don't understand it. I'm not saying don't bring him in, but then we let a guy like Leon King go. So why could he not have done that role? I thought that. I mean, I applauded the signing of King, McCrory, but I didn't understand letting the boy King go and then signing him. I just didn't understand it. I don't see the net gain other than a wee bit more experience. Do you know what I mean? I just don't. I don't see it. I think it's brainless. Brainless, actually. It's brainless. You're bringing in that boy Devlin. He's not good enough to play for Rangers. There's no incremental gain. There's nobody. Raskin Devlin can't play beside Raskin, in my opinion, and they're too samey. But Raskin is a level above, and a cut above, easily a cut above. I don't see how. And if you're signing him in anticipation of Raskin leaving, that's not like for like. Maybe Dan Neil was the guy that they were signing in anticipation of him leaving. And he's only had one game.
I'll come back to you, Smurf. Ross has joined us quickly. Evening, Ross. How we doing, mate?
All right, Mucker. Salmon.
Oh, that's a good question, mate. I really don't know, mate. Can I interest you in one of my whiteboards?
I've just heard you talking about your whiteboard. I don't want your whiteboard. I want Rangers to win.
Don't we all, mate? Don't we all? Well, let's start tomorrow night, mate.
Are we going to start tomorrow night? Are we going to come into the changing room and score a couple of goals? Because it's not what I'm like it now, mate. I'm sick of it, mate. Every week, every weekend, every during the week, we're getting beat. What's going to change? What is going to change?
Oh, mate, that's a question, and I'll tell you what, mate. I'm not qualified to answer that. Robert?
Does your whiteboard not tell you?
Oh, I'm just looking at it, mate, to see if I can come up with a theory.
Evening, Ross. Evening, Smurf as well, pal. Ross, the only thing I can say, mate, is it's got to change at some point. But we've made it difficult for ourselves, mate. We've put ourselves in a really precarious position with the performances and the result going into tomorrow night. The 2-1 down isn't the worst result going into a home game. Of course, you want to win every game. Over the piece from last week, we didn't do enough to win the game. But it's 2-1, but it could have been 3 or 4-1. They had a good few chances. They missed a sitter as well. So it's got to turn at some point. I hope it's tomorrow night, mate. I really do, because it's a massive game and it's becoming a massive week when you look at it. A European game and then a League Cup game against St Mirren, who have started well in the league. So first and foremost, tomorrow night, we've got to go out and put on a performance that's good enough to win. Whether it's clean, whether it's pretty, is irrelevant, as long as we do enough to win the game. But I understand exactly what you're saying there. It doesn't look like we've got goals in us at the minute because of the chance creation, the 25 shots against Hibs, and the only goal in it is an own goal. So you would need to find a solution to get goals in the game, and that's the only way we'll win tomorrow night.
I mean, I'm not come back in there. I mean, obviously seeing boys walking out before the time's up, we don't want to see boys walking out. We don't want to see that. Is that what we're back to? Boys walking out the park, is it? We don't want to see this.
I think
Come on, Rangers.
People leave with 10 minutes to go, whether we're winning, losing, or drawing, mate. Some people have got themselves into that mess, but if they're leaving because they're frustrated, mate, and there's other people leaving because they're frustrated and they don't feel we look what's going on. For all the shots we had, we did hit the woodwork, but you just felt we didn't look what's going, which seems crazy when you'd all that possession and all these shots, but I don't think we looked what's going. I don't know what your take on it was, Smurf.
I think I make Ben any nice supporter beside the night.
On you go, Smurf.
Look, we could have played for 2 hours and we wouldn't have scored. It just didn't feel that way. There was no cohesion. Nobody seemed to be on the same wavelength. And I don't know. I think for the get-go, you know, that I'll say one thing about McInnes that I heard him earlier on saying we need to play for 90 minutes like we play for the last 5 minutes. And that comes down to recruitment. And he's bringing players in. So who's that come down to? There's whatever you like to say, you know, we brought up, what's that, 10 players we brought in now, and I don't see improvements anywhere.
And first impression, Big McClanga looked okay on Saturday. But
he did, and the other centre half at suit, the boy we brought in on loan, look to a tidy player, and maybe that's a partnership going forward, and you can put Romans beside him. But we need a starting right back, because we've got cover at right back, and we need cover at left back, and we need adequate cover at centre half, so we can get in Ciala and we can get Suter out the door.
Slow down, mate. Slow down. I'm writing all these on my board, and I can't keep up, mate. All this cover we need. Robert.
It's right though, Smurf. You're bang on, mate. We need a hell of a lot of cover, just for players just to be there as depth more than anything else. Obviously, you want the quality, but you want depth as well. If you get both, then great, and that's the way you always target the way it should be. But going back to the point you made when you first phoned in there, mate, about McCrory. When I seen the signing of McCrory, I thought, okay, but I honestly expected another right back. I didn't see him as the starter, as the replacement for Tav. I thought he would have been the squad player and would have went and got another right back. And I actually thought would have tried to move Sterling on just because of his inability to go game by game.
Who is going to... I've championed Big Sterling on here in the past. Who is going to sign a player that can't play 2 games a week? He can't go to the English Championship. He can't go to anybody that's in any cups. He can't go to somebody that's in Europe. Yeah?
No, I understand. That's why I said try and get him out if you could, but that's a hard task. But for that reason alone, as you've said, mate, but I fully expected another right back and McCrory be the squad cover as such, Smurf.
All right. Let's turn the whole thing onto the mention for the Morning Knights game. We know where the recruitment is, and we know we've played that record. The Morning Knights massive Spurs. Where'd that come from? Smurf. How do you see he's lining up, mate? With the personnel shortage? Have you thought about it?
But no, really. We've got McCania, we've got Sterling if he's depends how he gets up, if he twists his soak getting out of bed in the morning. Maybe he would play it right back, hopefully. Then Big Fernandes is going to be beside him because there's nobody else. And I don't know. In fact, Fernandes is Sterling's got to play at left back, isn't he? And we've got to play McCrory at right back, I suppose. Into midfield, Raskin is a shoe in. I'm not playing Devlin beside him, so I'm probably going to go with that young boy, Dragovic, or whatever his name is. I'll put him in a 2. Get wee Japanese fella on the right. I'm going to go with Curtis on the left. I'm playing Asgard. I'm making this in the hoof. I'm playing him at a 10, and I suppose you've got to play. I'm trying to think who we've got up front now. I don't know who I'd go with. A striker, another. Doesn't really matter. None of them are any top quality strikers, are they? Let's be honest. I mean, play with captain there, but I'll be honest with you, I'm critical of that signing and all. I don't see that. Maybe at domestic level, but that would be my 11.
Some differences for you there, Robert?
Aye, slightly. Not far away, Smurf, from what I had as well, mate. I think it's just, as Ox touched on, looking at the personnel, it's how you set up best with the people that's available. And obviously, the way you've set up is that 4-2-3-1 by the sounds of it. And you might be right, mate. That might be the way it goes because that's who's available.
It's shoehorning a bit of creativity, and Asgard can't play anywhere else. And I suppose you need players. If you're a guy that plays with wingers, and relies on them, you still need to have the ability within your squad to change things up. And so having the number 10 to bring on is another tool in your toolbox, as it were. But Asgard can do nothing else. And this is the problem. Therein lies the problem. Going forward, forget the problem and the predicament we're in at the moment. If you stick with a 4-4-2 and you're relying on wide guys hugging a touchline, kind of wingers,
then how does a number 10 get a run of games to get his form and his confidence? These type of players tend to be confidence players. How does he get a run of games to get his confidence and his match fitness up and just get into a rhythm and build wee relationships and all that when the team doesn't play that way? And if we're not going to play that way, I don't see the point of having Asgard at the club, really. Because you need consistency, don't you?
I think that's a problem, mate. Maybe domestically, some games at Ibrox, you can play them left or right. You can maybe try them in different positions. But if you're honest, if he's going to be involved in any big games, and Memorial Night's turned into a big game because we've made it hard for ourselves, and so was Sunday, I think you can only play him when you play him wide, mate. It just if you've got your back and they've got your back in that three, he just doesn't do it, mate. We've watched it for a season, Robert. So it just exposes the rest of him because it's not in his makeup. You know, he can say he's going to do this, he's going to do that, but you can see what he does, and we've watched it, and we know what he is. And I'm with Smith. I think he can play sort of 10 and a 2. He can maybe join in and have a free role, or he can sit behind 2 and make things happen as long as he's got the cover behind him. But you ask him to go left and right, I just don't think it works. There you go, it's mental. But
He's got to be central. He's got to be central. He's positionally, he's a one-trick pony, and he's got ability. I get that, but I don't know. It's one of the ones. It's a frustrating signing because he's got so much in terms of his physicality. He's got so much in terms of technique. You can fire a ball into him. It's, really, really fire a ball into him, and he'll just kill it stone dead. No, take it in a turn beautifully, left or right, and all that good stuff. But there's nothing else. There's nothing else, and ultimately, unless you're playing consistently with in a 4-2-3-1, or assuming the opposition playing a style that would see you employ a midfield diamond to negate their system, you could play at the head of a diamond. But if you're not consistently going to play in that formation, and you would need other players that can play a 10 as well, because you need cover. Get that in your whiteboard.
Just wait a minute, mate. I've not got that. That means I need to put these magnets in a shape now, Robert. This is getting ridiculous. Right?
And then ultimately, I don't see the point in it, because you can't get momentum. You can't just go, well, that's not worked. The way they've shaped, we need to go to a 4-2-3-1. We'll stick Asgard on. The guy's no match fit, really. He's getting cameo minutes here and there. He's no building relationships. He's void of confidence. What's the point in it? I don't get it.
Robert, is it just personnel, or is it just how you see it, mate?
I think it's just personnel, mate, if I'm being honest. Yeah, you're limited. As much as you've got that many midfielders, we're limited to what they actually offer. And I think for Asgard, as I said, he's only a ball carrier, so you've got to find a place for him. I totally agree with what you're saying, that essentially he's better than he is out wide. But the way I would have had the free setup is like kind of almost like a 4-1-4-1, but not really, if that sounds a bit right. I know, stick that on your whiteboard, and I'll show you it later. But Raskin is a kind of the sitter, and the Dragojevic to the right, slightly ahead of him, and Asgard to the left, slightly ahead of him. It's almost like a triangle ox in another shape for you.
You need to go to HR first thing, 9 o'clock. Get there, right? Yeah. Fox will ask you to blow in your bag. Just do it and get it done. Take the swab as well. Get it sorted in bed.
Set my alarm, nice and early.
All right. Just get it done, you know what I mean? I think you've been on the cowpaw again. But look, mate, I think you used a term there, a lot of them are similar, and therein lies the problem. You know, and you don't see anybody that's... When Diamondi came into your team, I thought he was going to take that left side of midfield I thought that was going to be, and then he was going to get forward and score the odd goal. And I think he scored in a couple of games quite rapid. I think St Johnstone and Hearts at Ibrox. He sort of, I think the one at St Johnstone, he missed hitting it within the goal, but he scored at Ibrox against Hearts from memory, mate, quite quickly. And I'm thinking, all right, you get goals regularly, you come for that position, you've got something to offer. But we know that Asgard's got great technique, and he will score goals, and he's got the free kicks and the set pieces. And did you see him chasing Gassama Saturday? That's a sad indictment, isn't it? We've got somebody playing for us that can't. Everybody knows can't take a corner and plays wide. But when you play him in that position, and I'm not saying he's not the obvious choice with what we've got this now, but we've watched it, mate, and his awareness about people running off him isn't he great, mate? That's where he's a hybrid, and that gives you a problem, mate. Robert?
It does, mate. It does give you a problem. And as Smurf said, there is only kind of one area that stands out for Asgard. And as you've said, we've seen it so many times where he is ineffective, and it's always been in that kind of wide area. But I just think we're really, really limited. Our defence is fragile, and that's why I think we need to play the 4. So if you're playing with the 4, you've somehow got to mould a midfield somehow. Smurf might be right. It might be that 4-2-3-1, and that's the way we go. And obviously we'll try and use the midfield the best we can. Usually in Europe, teams are quite open and expansive. I don't expect this team to be in Morning. They don't need to go and win the game. So I reckon it'll be compact, and it's down to us to try and break it down. So you're looking at your personnel, you're looking at your Asgards, your Cotas. Can you get them on the ball quick enough to go and drive at them, create chances for the strikers, whoever it may be, or striker? But it's about, I think we're really, really short, mate, in a big game where
I think
you shouldn't
Asgard's
have
going to
shouldn't have been in
play, mate.
position.
I think he's going to play, in my opinion, tomorrow night. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's one of the guys that looks more likely to have a shot or to score a goal, Spurs.
It just depends what you want, and you want to try and have somebody out on the pitch that can be a bit of a difference maker, or do you want to be industrious and combative? I mean, other than Asgard, you might look at it and some players in the midfield might be left-footed, some might be right, but they're all much of a muchness. But where they do differ is in terms of their ceiling, in terms of their ability. And in all honesty, I don't see. I just struggle to see the logic in signing players. And you look at what's at the club, and you look at who you're bringing in, and you look at their ceiling, and you don't correlate them where you try and bring in better or equal to what you've already got. If it's already a low bar and you're not winning anything, clearly the bar's got to raise. And we've got a multitude of midfielders now. And, Raskin aside, and Asgard, who's, if you like, got a kind of niche role in that team. The rest of them are just much of a muchness, as I see it. And it doesn't really matter who you bring in, they're just jersey fillers. And I think we've got that wrong. There's no difference makers. For as many midfielders as we've got, I think we need somebody that can dictate the tempo of a game, speed it up, slow it down, take it with a scruff of the neck, and actually be a captain and control a game.
But you've also missed 1 ounce that none of them have got, mate. And you've seen that on Sunday with Devlin, mate. And we've seen it with Barron at times as well.
I mean, yeah. Barron, I'd send him out and loan that boy.
There's talks that he could be moving on potentially, but we don't know, mate. But if using you as Devlin any better, that's up for debate. But
no,
What I'm saying is, and Robert, you can come in and Smurf's right about all the attributes, but with no creativity. That's how we're trying to shoehorn a guy into the team who we've watched for a year. Has had magic moments, but over the whole has been poor for us, Asgard, because we've no creativity for the midfield. And that's another sad indictment. And if I start highlighting my midfielders with creativity, this thing's going to look different. But there'll not be many of them getting that colour. Maybe a wee star next to their name. What do you think?
I'd go with a star, aye. A wee bit of a star quality they've got in the pitch, aye. But you're right, there is creativity. They're screaming out for it. There's been, I mean, who was the last real creative player we had from midfield? Who was somebody that Smurf you're saying there? Who's the last guy that comes to mind that done that? And who is that creative spark? There's a few people on the feed tonight saying the likes of these games in particular, your Joe Aribos, your Hadjis, they were creative players. Not saying they're the answers now, but
We've nobody at our club at their peak of their powers played for him. And I slaughtered Hadji at times on here. We've nobody at our club at this moment in time who could lace the two guys' boots when they played well for us, mate. Nobody.
Exactly. As I say, I'm not saying they're the answers, but that's names that people are saying they can have creativity, flair, and ability that we don't have. So it screams out, you need pace, you need urgency, you need creativity. If you don't have that, you're going to go nowhere. You're just going to be pedestrian and slow and laboured, and that's what we've been in these past two games.
You just always look spooked. There's nobody going to put their foot in the ball. There's no guy who's got the confidence to be calm. You know, there's no calming. You don't even need to be a shout on a ball, a calming, soothing sort of influence.
You mean Stephen Davis?
Stephen Davis, exactly. There's no Stephen Davis. There's nobody who's cajoling the defence and taking young guys with real talent and real athleticism, your Aribos, etc. And making it and imbuing them with a sense of self-confidence because they've got a guy of that ability. You know, he was our Modric, really, wasn't he? That's how I saw him, and maybe he's irreplaceable. I don't know. He's one of us.
He's one of a generation, maybe, Steve. But
Aye.
anyway, we're moving into the last 20 minutes. If you want to join us, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Listen, this is a massive game tonight, Robert. I'm the more night you're on. You know, and we're having debates that are pretty scary, really.
We are, mate, and it's so early in the season as well to be kind of having those conversations and debates, but that's the position that we've put ourselves in with performances. It's how the recruitment's put us in the position we're in. We no addressing certain areas of the pitch. So it all boils down to the more night of what can we produce on that park. We need a confidence booster. It may be that the more night we go and get a result, and it may kickstart something, you never know. But what you don't want to be is eliminated from the competition, having a European hangover into a League Cup game, and then who knows what happens there. So the heat will only rise if it doesn't go well tomorrow night, mate.
Aye, and I didn't think they were great, mate. And by the way, we were fortunate with the Saturday missed as well, but it could have been so much worse, you know. So it's going to be about 10 degrees cooler, maybe a bit more. So maybe hopefully that should suit us Spurs than it was over there, yeah.
Aye. Ultimately, it's a game where we've got to set the tempo of that game for the get-go, to take your fans, feed off the fans, take your fans' ways, and be relentless. And I'm just hoping that the Ibrox factor and the crowd and you know, the occasion sort of springs them into life, you know. But we just can't be carrying passengers It doesn't matter about, it's no all, or it does matter, but it's not all about ability. We just can't be carrying passengers, especially tomorrow. It's a massive, massive game for us. It really, really is. And I think, and I'm no sort of want to sort of sensationalise things or I'm certainly not calling for the manager's head or anything like that. But Derek McInnes, see if he loses tomorrow, that man's under pressure, and he doesn't go and sign players. There's a department for that, and so that can't be laid, all that blame laid at his door. But ultimately, he'll be under pressure. He's going to be, undoubtedly. And I just hope for his sake and for the team's sake that they get a win and they put in a Rangers performance where there's real endeavour and there's fight and there's a bit of tenacity and aggression. And Louis having real quality in the team at the moment and it gives the fans something to hang their hat on while they rectify the mistakes that have been made.
Aye. I think there's a lot of reasons that tomorrow night's important, Robert. Confidence. You want a result. You want the team to start playing well to reward the fans. You want the gloom to lift. You want that eclipse moment when you can see the sun again. And then
I see what you did there.
Thank you. And then you move into Sunday with a bit more confidence. And that's a big factor. But we look at teams shy of a bit of confidence, if I'm honest. Because we haven't created a lot. We did over the piece, I suppose, on Sunday when you look at the number of shots. What happened to that moment, mate? No lot of chances. No lot of chances in the first half. On away in Poland, Young Finlay nearly single-handedly caused them problems away from home. Apart from that, very little, mate. So you want to lift this. You want to take the gloom away, bring the sun back out, mate.
You do, and if any of you guys didn't know what it was like to play under pressure at this club, then they know about it tomorrow night, because there is pressure on them. They're the ones that are expected to go out there and put on a result and a performance to get us through to the next tie. And they will need that wee confidence booster, Ox, that they're hoping to find themselves individually, but also as a team. Smurf says, build relationships, build partnerships and cohesion. A win can do that for you, but only if you go with the right attitude, application. And if you don't, then you've only got yourselves to blame.
Can I just cut across you quickly, mate, and bring you back in? Gary, if you're listening, mate, apologies. We've just picked up your voicemail, mate. It just came through, mate. If you want to join us for the last few minutes, feel free. But we just picked it up, so there's been a hiccup in the background. Thanks very much. Carry on, Robert.
No, I was just saying, mate, that if you need that wee confidence booster as an individual and as a team, but if you don't, if you got the wrong attitude, the wrong application, then it'll be down to the individuals that are to blame who take to that field. So there is pressure, there is expectation, and if they didn't know what it was like, they're going to find out tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm looking for a performance, and let's just for this argument assume McGasserman's fit. Did he do enough on Sunday for you in a cameo?
Not for me, no. Interestingly, I think we've got two wingers in John Curtis and Gassama, and they do seem to be, rather than starting games and being expected to perform for 90 minutes, they do seem to be guys that do better coming off the bench.
Talking about subs, Gary's joined us. Sorry about the mishap, Gary. Thanks for taking the time, bro.
It's Josh.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was told Gary. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Right, carry on, Smurf.
Aye, so I just think I think we've got to start with young Curtis, and then we'll to me, he's won the jersey, and Gassama can maybe come on and later on in the game and hopefully get a chance to show us what he can do. But time's running out for that boy. He's got to start earning his wages, as far as I'm concerned, and start putting in performances. He's got the ability. So really, other than maybe confidence, and that can affect people, I get that. But ultimately, if you've not got the character to play for Rangers, you shouldn't be there. So he needs to show up, or he needs to be moved on.
I mean, like a few players like Ant-Man and the boy Diamondi, they left today. Ant-Man had fleeting moments. Diamondi's had the odd moment, even last week, where he played that nice pass, but then for the piece, I thought he had a dreadful game last week. But anyone, and Gassama would fall into that group as well, mate. But their ways were playing them hefty dough, and you're right to expect something after them. But if you left the club, would you bat an eyelid, Robert?
Nope, I'd give you a wee eraser for your whiteboard, mate.
Right. I was just going to use a wee bit of sponge.
It'll do the trick. But
All
no,
right.
I wouldn't lose sleep with him, mate, because he's one of these players that came in. I mean, his debut was a really good debut if you think back on it. You thought you had a player there. And then since then, a couple of goals in the qualifiers last season. And then over the piece, over that course of time, nothing else, not produced. He's too lightweight. He can't play on the right side when he's right fitted, which is that does my nut in with these wingers that have to come inside. But that's the modern day. His attitude has been questioned, and I think he's just going to be one of these guys that when the time comes, you'll go out and you'll go, see you later, unfortunately. Another one to the list.
Do you know something, Knox?
Yes.
See, really, this is my position, right? My position's this.
Oh, wait a minute, didn't he move this whiteboard room again?
No, you don't
Right,
know,
okay.
because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what formation you've got. You'll still need this. We need a spine to the team. We need a dominant first pick centre half. That's the Rangers centre half, and another beside him. And we need a number 6. Ferguson was a different type for Steve Davis, but we need a Rangers number 6, a guy that's going to dictate tempo, slow the game up, speed the game down, got a bit of guile, got a fit with brain, and we need somebody up front who's going to lead with attack. And nothing's changed. We needed that last year. We needed it the year before, and we're going into this season, and we still need that, irrespective of the signings that will be made.
It's like a hamster wheel this is turning into, innit? And I get it with the listeners, and I think we all feel the same. Recruitment, and we can talk about the people in the past that have made the blunders, but this, I believe, is their third transfer window. Maybe Mr. Thirlwell's maybe second, and their hit rate ain't great, mate, and their experience ain't great, and maybe they've been shown that they're at their depth. Maybe, or maybe they've not got the free rein that we're assuming, and they're only getting told, and they're doing their job perfectly, Robert.
Well, that's the thing with these guys that are in that position. You never know the way it's actually working. They've got job titles, and you can expect what kind of role they do within that, but you never know the actual ins and outs. But you can speculate. But from the outside looking in, as supporters, as I said earlier, they're the guys that get it because of their job titles and the role they're in, and it's publicly known that that's what they do. So that's where it comes into being scrutinised. But there's been ones before them. I'm sure there'll be ones after them, but we've got to put a stop to it at some point. We seem like we're on a stuck record being recruitment manager. Just get back to winning. Just get back to being successful. But that can only work if you've got the right personnel.
For me, it runs deeper. How Lawrence Shanklin is the captain of Glasgow Rangers, and the people will be listening to this going, what's he talking about? How he can be the captain of Glasgow Rangers as a striker when he's not going to start every game. Well, he might well know, but when Chermiti was fit, there was no guarantee he was going to start every game. You know, if they were going to play with Asgard or whatever, it just blows my mind. That blows my mind. That sits with Derek McInnes, and I think that's a howler for McInnes from my point of view. I'm not saying that's just my opinion.
Aye, interesting, mate. I'm sure that could cause a debate one night, you know. But interesting thoughts, mate. I'm not the greatest fan of goalkeeper stroke strikers being influential players in your team, mate. Yeah, you know, centre half stroke midfielders who are all more close to the cut and thrust, particularly the midfielders now in the modern game, when there's only certain players allowed to talk to the referee the way the game's changed. Well, they may have changed in Scotland. Nobody knows the rules in Scotland anymore. You know, and for any family out there that's suffered any losses in the last couple of days who have been victims of some heinous crimes, us at Rangers Radio would like to pay our respects to anybody who's had a loss for the scars that have been caused with criminality in Scottish football. So we have to win tomorrow night. It's as simple as that. So how's it going to go, Smurf?
Well, I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers. There they are. I've not got a great deal of confidence in the defence because there's no cover. I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers, and be optimistic. That's what you've got to be in it. You've got to be optimistic.
Robert?
2-0 for me, mate. Wee bit of confidence for the guys up front or in the midfield, and a bit of confidence for the defence and the goalkeeper as well, who I think has come under a bit of question, wrongly in my opinion. Conceded. So 2-0, mate.
I've seen it in the game, mate. Yeah. And I thought maybe he didn't get it. But when I seen the nick later on, mate, I think that takes him out. You know, it's one of the things, isn't it?
It is. It changes the whole direction. But 2-0 for me, mate, tomorrow night. Wee bit of confidence at both ends of the pitch.
All right. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right. Listen, thanks to... let me just get... Right. Let's go. Thanks to Gordon for joining us, of course, with Ross. It's always fun. Your good self, Smurf, always good to hear from you. And that Shankland debate, maybe we can have that for a time when we're a bit quieter and no games are on, mate. It'd be interesting to see what people's thoughts on it. I think we'll put the boy under pressure. He didn't need to be under personally. You know, just come in and play your game and score goals. But maybe Derek might think he didn't have any alternatives. Listen, thanks, Smurf. Always good to hear from you, mate.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, mate. Robert?
Cheers for having me, mate. Ox, been good to be on with yourself again, mate. Hopefully get a good result tomorrow night and we can be a wee bit happier into it. And also, Ox, just to let you know, there's an SFA decision tomorrow regarding the Old Firm Club's involvement at the Scottish Cup game. So we'll see what kind of punishment is handed out there tomorrow as well. Just as a wee off-take.
Do you think that'd be a coincidence to try to get things out when we've got a game, mate? Call me.
Well, the date was set, mate, so nobody's got a whiteboard in there either, by the sounds of it, or a calendar.
Yeah. Listen, mate, I'm getting a lot of offers and interest on my whiteboard, mate. Yeah, things are moving.
And just for your information, Ox, the last game we won both halves. Did check it. It was Falkirk away, and before that, 4th of April, Dundee United at home.
Right, okay. Ain't good, is it?
No, and that was only 2 of the 3 games we won since that. The games since April to the end of the season. Only 3 victories in that period, and 2 of them were won both halves. Not great.
Well done, mate. Proud of you.
Cheers, mate. Gold star. Take it off your whiteboard.
You were never on it. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Everybody for listening to Rangers Radio. Rangers Radio will be back with a pre and post match show tomorrow night. Thanks for listening. Take it away, Old School Blue.